Hey, it's Terry, your favorite no bullshit artist and business coach, and you're listening to Terry Talks, where we discuss all things taboo, uncovering art industry nonsense, grounding you in confidence and leadership to run an arts business with unwavering power and grit. Hello, and this is episode number 9, holy shit, of Terry Talks. But this is the spinoff between the two of us where I interview all kinds of people in the creative field, but also anyone who has some sort of an insight into different parts of being a freelancer, of being an entrepreneur, of taking on that mindset, all the roles, all the things. And so we're really dissecting each and every single aspect of being an artist in business. And it doesn't have to only come from other artists or other people in the art industry. So today I have a really special guest with me. I am actually, you know me, guys, I'm on the fly. I'm going to be introducing Siobhan Bonnie Patterson, who is a powerful and provocative thought leader, coach, and mentor. I actually met her through a podcast that I did on human design. I was coached on a podcast for human design by another incredible leader, and she had recommended like looking at Bonnie's Instagram and like we had the same vibe and the same kind of messaging and absolutely on point. Her tough yet nurturing motherly love is perfect for the purpose driven women who are ready to shift the paradigms. Hell fucking yes, this is what I'm about. So let me go ahead and invite her in to the room. Let me in. What up? Hello.
Hello. I don't know if it's just me, but I got a little echo there. I don't know if you have
Yep. So do I. So we are gonna hop off Zoom because we were doing a little. All right, cool. So today we're gonna talk about oof. I mean, it's a very broad topic, everybody. So it's definitely the entrepreneur mindset. It's definitely like having that grit. It's definitely like breaking down what it means to step into that role. And Bonnie has a wealth of knowledge in this area, being a mindset coach, being this leader in the industry, and really kind of diving into the nuances, the challenges, and the successes of what this means to be like the owner of your destiny. So we're going to just like have a chill conversation. Her and we already talked because that's just like how things go. So talk to me about the work that you do with your clients, and your motto, the energy around being an entrepreneur, and the things that you love talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So, hi, hello. Thank you for having me here. I have the logo to one of my brands. It's Mind and Body Fitness. And I'm a personal trainer and a life coach in one. And I refuse to pick either one because I'm a multifaceted, 8 defined centered projector with a quadruple split. So like I'm not playing these fucking games. Like this is what I want to do. I'm passionate about both. I think they both intersect well, and I'm really going against everything every business coach told me, which was basically stick to one thing and it will make you really rich right away. And I was like, my goal isn't just to get rich. My goal is to do what I love, is to help change lives and make an impact. And I truly believe that if you do what you do well long enough, you'll get better and people will pay you for the fact that you do it well and you're better than everyone else in your industry. Some of the work, the reason why I refuse to pick two is because anyone who's had a personal trainer, you know that we're like your therapist, we're a lot more.
Yes.
And after working in the
love
gym,
being yelled at, by the way. I fucking love that shit. 6 a.m. I was moody as fuck this morning, and all I had to do was walk 5 steps to my living room to do my workout with my trainer who has trained J-Lo, and like she's the shit, but she was fucking kicking my ass this morning, and I love the way she speaks to me. Is that like, I feel like it's like beat me up, yell at me, like, is that abusive? I don't know, but I love that shit. It's so motivating to me.
It's so crazy. And what's funny is like I'm the opposite of that. Like when people, if someone's with the shits, like if I had you and I knew that's what you like, then free range. But part of the reason why I got into coaching was because I wanted to show people that there was more to it than for the average woman who's not ready for that. I
Right.
wanted her to see that like I can come yell at you for 30 minutes, an hour a day, all I want. But if your ass isn't outside of here making those necessary changes, doing that work, it's
In
not gonna
between.
work.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And that's where the life coaching and everything intersected because I would come to women and I would hear their stuff and I was like, I can't fix this with push-ups, boo boo. We got a lot of uncovering to do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. It is exceptionally mental.
mhm, it's
I mean, I
legit.
think about, a couple of the girls in the group, are we're working on our push-ups.
Mhm,
And we're like, we've always wanted to do like a really smooth push-up. Like not one that your back is arched into and like none of that because we can all hold like a 2-minute plank. Like
mhm,
there's no problem. But it's like mastering this one thing. We are just like so determined to do this one push up, like a nice, you know. And it's like that grit, but it's like also that like that mental situation of like
mhm.
I really want this. I
Yes.
really want to do this. Like I'm going to try and practice like, for 1 minute every day. You know what I mean? So, let's get into your philosophy on, you know, take it in the chin and, like the no bullshit kind of like yes, it is hard to be an entrepreneur, but the shit's no harder than working at a 9 to 5 in a hospital or
Right,
working at, you know, uh, 12-hour shifts or starting a business in any category.
right.
What are your thoughts around that?
So I've had a really cool experience where my girlfriend and I were both, she's out of work and business was just really slow for me. So we sat on our asses all summer. And now that she's working again in a legal office, she makes pretty good money, but she has a very strict schedule that my free flowy spirit would just lose my fucking shit in. But
Absolutely.
at the same time, as a coach, whether it's training or life coaching, I'm still at the mercy of, are these people going to show up? Are they going to show up on time? And are they going to pay? But on the flip side of that, I get to work out and plan my days how I want to. Like she jokes, like, you for a living, you get to talk to people or you get to work people out. And I was like, yeah, but I also don't have a guarantee that I'm going to have that money. So you get to pick your hard. And I would rather, coming from a background of being sexually harassed in the workplace, working for people that I knew I was intellectually, like I was smarter than,
Yeah,
and just always feeling frustrated in corporate America. Are you okay? It
absolutely.
was lagging. I didn't know if you're there. But just all of the things that I personally dealt with in the workplace pissed me off so much that I wouldn't go back to that. So
Absolutely. I've had like some pretty, I had a situation, being an art educator for over a decade where I was having people, even other women in positions of leadership who
yeah,
did not like my boisterous voice,
yeah,
which was so ironic, um, that another woman would stop me from, my leadership desires. And that really gave me a lot of resentment. It definitely pushed me to realizing maybe I needed to get out of that setting for other mental health reasons and my diagnosis with BPD. But it really like made me learn, okay, working for myself is probably going to be the best environment for me. And so I feel completely blessed. Although this shit is hard, I can't keep saying this shit is hard.
right,
How many times can I tell my clients, yes, this shit is hard. Getting on social media is hard, but there's nothing harder than working in a place that sucks your soul fucking
yes,
dry. So I do
literally.
feel blessed to have the
Mhm.
freedom that I have to design my life right now. But yeah, sometimes it gets dried up like your partner. And, and for you, we've had seasons of no clients and seasons of lots of clients
Yep.
and monthly payments, and then it's the well is dry.
Yeah. The I was telling someone one of my clients yesterday is struggling with getting to the gym and working out. She's a 50-year-old woman. She's had a coach before. She's a virtual client. She's like, I just can't get why I can't make myself do it. And I was like, well, let's peel this layer back, because that one of the things that I coach is that you can only thrive off of for women specifically, right? I don't know how some people feel about the term masculine and feminine. I've been getting a lot of pushback, but this is my theory. It's how I do my
We're gonna
biz.
go with it.
Okay. So the mind in this represents the masculine energy, the just do it, the discipline, the structure, the shit. And then the embodiment represents the femininity, where there's flow, where there's flexibility, and where there's creativity. And just like the yin yang sign, the masculinity has a little bit of femininity, the feminine side has a little bit of masculinity. You got to bring those two worlds together, because just telling yourself, I just have to do this, I just have to do this, it may work in the beginning, but you will never be able to consistently perform in a way that's inconsistent with the way that you view yourself. And so going back to what you said about like, oh, this is hard, I can't keep saying this is hard. And what I was telling my client, I was like, when it comes to habit change, there's more than just do it. You get to take both aspects of you into consideration, your masculine that has the structure and your femininity that just wants flow. But at the end of the day, you're a human being, and we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit and creatures of patterns. And so entrepreneurship is new to all of us. We were not raised to know how to think for ourselves, at least not down here in Florida. I don't know how y'all schools
Absolutely.
are, but like you're taught, take this test, answer this way, go to get this degree, this is that. You're taught how to follow in line.
And
And
here's your
so,
schedule. I mean,
yes,
that's
and so
that's obviously a societal, norm,
that's
right?
the normal. That's what's normal. And so you have to give yourself a little bit of grace. That's that feminine. Give yourself some grace and realize this is a fucking learning process. No, you're not going to be a perfect entrepreneur, business owner, artist, all these things your first 3 months, 6 months, maybe 3 or 6 years. This shit takes practice. So realize that patterns are how people change. And if you're changing from being an employee to an entrepreneur, understand that it is a pattern and it is a habit that you will have to get used to. Now, on the flip side, humans are also going back to that stage of you won't be able to perform in a way that is inconsistent with how you view yourself. Your identity is the number one factor and why you can or cannot make changes. And we all have our defaults. For years, my default was I'm a struggling single mom server and life is always
Right.
hard. I'm always behind on bills and I always get the short end of the stick.
Right.
But when I'm in my entrepreneur mode and I was rewiring my mindset to be this person, that's all I thought about. But when times get hard, when the clients stop coming in as heavily, when you stop getting as much engagement, or when you stop seeing that external validation, you go back to your default identity. And so
Right.
I found myself during the hard times going back to, instead of I can do this, patience, blah, blah, going back to, see, I knew this wouldn't work. I'm just a struggling mom. No stuff ever works out for me.
Right.
And so when you're in that season, it's so important for you guys to stop and be like, who am I identifying as right now? Am I identifying as the
Oof.
struggling artist who
Oof.
nobody's ever going to pay? Or am
Right.
I make your story your own? Like, okay, this is the story of my business. It was a struggle at first. I had ups, I had downs, but I kept pushing. I may have had to get a part-time job. I may have had to drive Uber, but I kept creating my work and I kept putting it out there. Because truth be told, Instagram will have you fucked up in the head about what you
So
think a
fucked up.
business should look like.
I
Okay?
was just telling a client yesterday that I saw something on my fucking phone that said, like join my program, 22K in 30 days. And to me, that is like, it literally, like, I felt stabbed in the back by another female. And it was gut wrenching, not because it made me feel like any kind of imposter syndrome. I was just like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Where is this message going?
Yeah.
Are you like, is this ethical? And so when I think about, yes, of course, how social media fucks shit up and really twists things and turns things, obviously, I tell my clients, you're either on Instagram for inspiration or envy. And then I have another client who's completely off Instagram. We had dinner last night and she was saying, I said, I want to know, like, why, like, where have you been? And she's like, yo, I archived all my shit and I found myself following other artists who I wanted to be. And she was like, am I painting like them now? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, she was like looking at her work in like a very like, wow, I'm being way too consumed with certain things. And I asked her the same question. Are you being inspired to be an entrepreneur and an artist in your own right? Or are you playing an envy? Are you looking for, competition or X, Y, and Z? And one of the things that, you and I have spoken about is like that radical acceptance. But I also had to radically accept that when I was fired after a decade, because I was definitely acting out. I was really like great at being an art teacher. I was great at being a dean. I had my kids in line and I was teaching some of the most difficult kids in the country. However, when I was fired, I probably should have left 2 years earlier. That was the radical acceptance of like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. My voice isn't accepted here. But the narrative that I have also created when I'm down in the dumps is, Terry, you got fired. Then you jumped into this, entrepreneur field and freelance field. Clients aren't pouring in. Why aren't they pouring in? Maybe your voice is too strong. Maybe your approach is too this. Maybe, all of these I've then paint that other picture. And when I talk to my clients about narratives, right? You're saying you're already making the decision that someone doesn't want to pay you.
Yeah.
You've already made the fucking decision, yo. Like, you've already made the decision on what's in their wallet.
Yeah.
Even if they have $20 for a print or $5,000 for an original painting, you've already made that decision in your head that they don't fucking have it. That's a
That
narrative. That's a whole separate narrative.
that hit so hard. And I don't know if we'll have time to touch on this, but anywho,
Yeah.
I'm working with a different clientele right now that kind of reboosted my passion for my business because I got so stuck with
Yeah.
only seeing my friends and my family or people I knew weren't going to buy on my like engaging with my content and watching my stories. And so I started to slowly frame what I posted in a way that would fit my followers. And it's like, those aren't the people that are paying me. But I
I
grew up
know.
around like middle class and lower. So sometimes, again, identity. I have to remember that I'm here to make an impact, but I'm also in a business to make money. And
Exactly.
I was only thinking of the people that didn't have money and that they aren't, like you said, worrying about people's pockets. And then working now with the clients I'm reminded that, yo, there's people out there that will gladly pay me what I'm worth
Yes.
and then some,
Yes.
that will gladly tell their friends about
Yes.
me, that won't try to negotiate my prices. But when you get stuck in that negative mindset or scarcity, like there's not enough out there for me, it can really do a number on you.
Yes. And, I tell my clients that I've never had someone negotiate with me. And then I ask them, have you ever had someone like that you've given them a number or the number was on your shop or it was online, you had an Instagram shop or whatever. Have you ever had someone DM you for real and said, instead of 450, could you do 400? And they're like, no, it's listed on your website, right? If they have the audacity, that's a whole separate conversation. But it's very rare that what I do hear is people who are disrespectful downplaying, oh, how much? That's what I hear. But if people are making the assumption that they're gonna get X, Y, and Z, then you're gonna get X, Y, and Z, right? I'm pivoting my whole clients. I'm rewiring who I want to work with right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
And me even discontinuing my 4-month package to work with anyone. First of all, no one really signs up for my 4-month package, to be honest. They sign up for my 6-month and then they renew to 9. I've worked with a client for 2 years at one point, right? Development is continuous. It's limitless. And
Hmm.
so the reason I know people aren't signing up for 4 months, the ones that are investing, it's just it's like like the tip of the iceberg
Right.
almost.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because I'm also offering free calls on this podcast as a giveaway. And I was telling my client, whether you're selling something for free or for 5 grand, you're still going to have it's still difficult.
Yeah.
There is no like one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit how many free things I can give away. It's my signups could still be very consistent to them paying. And so it's all about this, like, I do think rewiring is very important. I do think checking your narrative is very important. I do think, am I making assumptions about other people, or is this about me? And how much grit can I handle? How much can I hold in my body that is just like a sack of shit almost? You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm constipated with all these thoughts.
Yeah.
Um but you and I are both like, oof, like whenever you and I say something, I'm like, damn, Siobhan, like what, like this is good combo.
Mhm.
This is good candy right here.
What you said about like all the limiting beliefs that you just named off, one of my favorite things to do, because I call it a downward spiral. Because once that shit starts,
Woo!
I have two little things that I want to implant in your audience's
Yes.
head about what to do with those thoughts. The first analogy is like someone's knocking at your door and you look through the peephole, you see who it is, and you get to ask yourself, do I feel like fucking with them right now? And let's say those people outside are negative thoughts. When they creep up, you see them. You have the choice whether I'm going to engage or whether I'm just going to like divert my attention to something else. But we don't do that. We open up the door and we're like, "Come on
Always,
in, you and your friends,
always.
come sit down and eat at the table, all of you guys." And then you're like, "I don't know why I'm so
Anxiety, come.
negative." Yeah. Next time when they come, and this is what I do, and I learned this from meditation. Because I remembered when I was learning how to meditate, I would count. I would do rhythmic breathing and I would count. And every time any thought aside from those numbers, one, two, what am I doing today? Three, four, have the dogs look out? Six. I would just yeet the thought and just keep going.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
now when negativity comes up, oh, her Instagram page looks better than mine. Oh, she's getting more views. And how come my views are yeet? I don't have time for
Yep.
that shit. Like we're not going to entertain that shit. You're not coming in and taking up space in my brain because it's never going to end well. So that's my first analogy. When they're knocking at the door, let them bitches sit outside. Do not entertain them. Okay.
Yes.
The second one is that your brain is like an algorithm, right? The more you double tap on certain things, the more the algorithm's going to bring it to
Oof.
you. The more you
Yes.
open the front door and let them in and entertain these thoughts, your brain is like, oh, well, Terry must like this thought because we've been dwelling on it for hours now. Send some more her way. So
Yes.
that's how the downward spiral starts. And before I let that downward spiral start, one of the ways, aside from just blocking it out, because not everybody can do that, I get it.
Right.
But one of the key steps to learn how to block it out is to stop, be like, stop, and ask yourself, is this really true?
Yeah.
Is her Instagram feed really better than mine? What is better? What is better? That's more
And
to her
who's
style.
creating it?
Yeah, like so
How
many
many people you
questions.
got on your fucking team? I
Thank
mean,
you.
listen, if you have the coins to get a team, great. I want to make sure everything is in my voice. And one day when I do be a copywriter, to make sure that I am pinning my messaging down, because I'm not a writer, right? I don't claim to own every single aspect of being a business, being business savvy. There's lots of things not only that I don't want to do, but that I'm not like 100% great at. This,
Mhm.
I could come in here and talk all day. Can I write out this message? I'm not as confident there, right? And
Right.
so I think that it really, some of the things come down to, like, yes, when someone's knocking at your door, I love that, like that whole mantra. And I say the same thing about anxiety or imposter syndrome. One of the things that, as a third thing to add, is that I have my clients in our group programs name their imposter syndrome person.
Okay.
So what they do is, like, if your imposter syndrome, like, let's compartmentalize.
Mhm.
Let's separate it from our bodies and say, Kelly, I don't have time for you today.
Right.
Bitch, I don't have time.
Because we're not
You're
doing
getting in
this.
the way,
Mhm.
and you're talking to me, and I'm painting, or I'm making art, or I'm in the studio, or I'm trying to create content. And it really has helped my clients separate those two people, and listen, it's natural for them to merge. That anxiety is going to creep in when it wants to. You
Mhm.
cannot control that. And I'm someone who manages my mental health and BPD every single day. Borderline personality disorder does not fucking go away. That shit stays. It's a part of you. And I manage. And people with mental health, difficulties, our bodies have to work almost like overtime, And so the clients that I work with, a lot of them, have in the past have had severe anxiety around, just like, oh my god, I think I'm stepping into imposter syndrome right now. Oh my god, am I really talking like the starving artist language, or am I that pocket of negative self-talk, and but it's like, also, the coach in me wants to say, you got to take this shit in the chin sometimes, like what you were, in our notes and exchanging ideas with you. Tell me what is your take on that, like when you have clients who are feeling super fucking defeated. I haven't made art sales all month. Tell me, like, Bonnie, help me. Where can I go? What can I say to myself? What can I feel? What do I want to feel?
What do I want to feel is a good thing to focus on for sure. Taking it on the chin when stuff is not going your way in your business, and then tying that to radical self ownership. I'm not one to tell people to beat themselves up. So I went down
Right.
that route and I still deal with it. And I think women, we do that shit enough, but you got to be real. There's a difference between beating yourself up and just facing the fucking facts,
Right.
right? There's a difference between I have been posting well, I'm not sure how you guys go about it, but there's a difference between you doing all of the things and you not seeing the results, right? And then a difference between you not doing all of the things and then not getting the results and then having a pity party. But here's the thing. There's no fucking guarantees in entrepreneurship. That's
None.
something that we have to remember. Nobody
That
is
is the radical
obligated to pay
acceptance.
us. Nobody, just because you decided to follow your dreams and follow your truth, nobody told you to do that shit but you, and I'm proud of you for doing it.
Yeah.
But that's on you. So, and I don't know about the artist space, but I see a lot on my feed on Facebook. People like, nobody's gonna support your friends and family don't even support you like strangers do. Because they've been hearing your shit for years. Like they don't care anymore. Like they're over it. And
Right.
everybody starts a business and stops. So for all they know, this is a phase. They want to see
Yes.
you go the distance and then they'll support. There's nothing wrong with that because if you were on the other side, you'd probably be the same way. Like, oh, here comes another business owner. Let's watch this. And it
Right.
sucks, but that's the truth. Like that's the truth. So the first truth is that like you decided to do this. So you get to take all of everything that comes with it. When you have a baby, you have a kid, you're a parent. I'm a parent. Ain't nobody tell me to keep my kids. Yes, I was very young. Yes, one of them was against my own fucking will. But I
Yeah.
made the choice to have that baby and be a mom at 14. Was it hard as fuck? Did I get tired of explaining to everybody my struggle? Yeah, I did. So I stopped and I took it on the chin. I was like, hey, you could have had an abortion. You could have given your child up for adoption, but here the fuck we are. So this is what we get to
Yeah.
do, right?
That's
So
the
you
radical acceptance. But
yes.
when it comes to, it's like, either we're gonna have that radical acceptance, or we're gonna have this entitlement of like, well, I should be getting this. I
And
should be,
why? I think
yeah.
that's a good question. Like, why? Because the
Why am I
Instagram ads tell you you're going to make $22,000. First of all, that's bullshit. I said on another podcast the other day, I learned so much more about my business when I started just hanging out with business owners
Yes.
versus following 30
Yes.
Instagram coaches.
No, facts. And I've been heavy this year on being around top tier people. Top
Hmm.
tier. I don't care if you've been top tier for 2 months, but if your energy is spot on. And I mean, last night, my dinner with my, old client, who is now such a good friend of mine. I mean, she was like, Terry, what would you say to me? Because I'm really considering laying down a lot of money for a coach.
Hmm.
And a coach that catapulted my career. She's the only coach I've ever actually had. And of course, rates go up. Today's price is not tomorrow's price, right?
Come
So,
on.
so 4 years ago, things were different. And she is top tier. I have kept myself in close proximity to this woman for the last 5 years. And I'm finally like, damn, like I know that I need that guidance right now, like
Hmm.
strong marketing and business guidance. I know
Hmm.
the art world, but
Yep.
it's like, I know exactly what I need. And she was giving me advice. Well, Terry, how could you really make this happen?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been thinking, like, can I open up a credit card with, a 2-year no interest? Like there's things that I could do, right? Do I believe I'm going to make that money back? Do I believe the reward based on this risk, right? The
Mhm.
reward on the investment. And yes, like I have no objections. There's always still going to be that fear. I
You
am
know?
so not into debt. I am debt free. I've been debt free my
Woo,
entire life.
girl, you are amazing. I love this for you.
There is probably 1% of me. And the reason is I had scholarship for college. I was a teacher and got, credits for to get my master's. I mean, this all was built. I'm
Mhm.
highly resourceful. And if any of my clients are listening, I'm also the free queen. Every single thing in my apartment except for a couple plants maybe and this desk from my grandfather has been found for free. I am on like every single buy nothing page on Facebook. And you know, it's just like the worry of being in debt or the worry of like what if I don't make the money back, Terry? Like what if you don't work hard enough, Terry? But it's like those are narratives. This is what I signed up for and I want
Mhm.
it. Like I
Yeah.
really fucking want it. So when people are like, "Well, I don't have enough work to sell. I can't, do you have one piece?"
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have one piece of artwork? Could you make 500 this month? Yes. Right. And it's like, I think like, yes, that social media, like money in abundant, like lots and lots of money. Like you need like lots of things and you need lots of product and you need lots of services. And I'm slimming my shit down.
Same.
Like I am refining. I'm letting that 4-month package go. Y'all can have it now for a discount. Let me even
Mhm.
slim it down. Let me make this more simple.
Yep.
And so I think that like when I do hear artists say, have that not the negative self-talk, but they talk in a deficit. And I'm like, no, no, no. I get to do this. I get
Mhm.
to make my schedule today. Did I
Mhm.
wake up and have a hard time figuring out what that schedule was? Probably. Did
Yeah.
I really fucking know what I was going to do today? I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, I got to, like, I'm the privileged. I'm completely fucking privileged. And so, whoever's listening right now, if you take anything away, just know that you are privileged to be able to run the show. Like, you're the shit. You can make decisions. You don't have to turn to anyone and make those decisions, not even your partner. Well, I mean, maybe sometimes, but I don't have a partner, so I'm not talking to nobody right now. I have a dog. I don't have a baby. I don't have a husband yet. And they might come in different orders. I'm not 100% sure. However, it's going to come in whatever order I want it to. If I want to have a baby tomorrow, I'm going to have a baby tomorrow at 40, right? I
Mhm.
could have a baby at 50. But it's to me it's really creating the gift of creating my own destiny no matter how hard. And so I want to encourage everybody to stop saying how hard it is.
Mm.
It's not my hustle. This is my livelihood. And I want everyone to I hope that that resonates, you know.
You said so many good things, and I was able to write. I wish I had taken notes at
I'm
all the
sweating.
stuff.
I'm like
I have ADHD, so if I don't write it down, I will
I know.
forget. So I was like, all right, let
I'm
me.
sweating.
The what did you say? About the get to and the things that we do. I think one of
Yeah.
the first things that comes to mind for me is like when a client comes in here for the first time and they haven't worked out in years or ever, and I start showing them new moves and they're like, this is hard, and this is very frustrating. And I remind them, I was like, you've never done this before.
Right.
I was like, can you give yourself the learning curve to get better at it? I don't know why
Yes.
that popped into my head, but I think that someone needs to hear this. And I know I said it in the beginning,
Oh
but I
yeah.
just when you use fitness because it's a body and we all have one, everyone can instantly relate to the first time they tried to do an exercise and you're like, holy fuck, my knees are bad. But then flash forward 6 months down the line and you're doing it like a pro. So some practical tips for you entrepreneurs that are like struggling with that this is hard thing, because we are free spirits. And especially as artists, you guys are probably a lot more flowy and not boxed in. Um, I made myself a 10 before 10 list. And it's very flexible, but it's 10 things that I have to do in the morning that I get to do. That if I want to sit around and smoke weed and masturbate all day long at the end of my
Yep.
day, then that's what I can do. But those things have to get done. And as long as I have
Yes.
those things done, then I don't feel so trapped in the box. As far as this is hard, or am I, you said something that made me write this down. Oh, about life giving you the things that you want when you want them. And so I immediately thought, whew, anytime that I didn't make a sale or that things didn't pop off in my business, when I look back at it, I was like, I think someone told me, they're like, you didn't get that sale because you didn't really want it. And in my head, I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I want to pay my bills. Of course I want the
Yeah,
sale.
fuck
But I
you.
but here's the thing. Life only gives you what you like. Life gives you what you are, not just what you want. And at that time, I did not have the
Yes.
capacity to take that client on. And
Yes.
my
I
my
agree with that. Yes.
like and so like you said with the dog and the husband, this and that, when you're in a season where you have the space and the energy to give to that a partner, that's when they'll come. Like I've
Yes.
been manifesting my partner for years, and it was only this year when I slowed down in my business, when I stopped listening to 50 million coaches, when I stopped trying to be this unicorn startup and started focusing on why I got into what I do. It was like the universe is like, now you get it. Now you're ready to union with someone else, because whatever the fuck you were doing before was all over the place. So
Yeah.
life gives you what you have space for. Are you making
Yeah.
space for sales, right? Are you spending time, like, are you organizing your day? Are you paying attention to your numbers? Like the uncomfortable stuff that you don't want to do, like the prize is always in the stuff you don't want to do. The thing that you're wishing for, the thing that you're wanting for is always in the work that you're avoiding.
Right.
Always.
I don't want to get on stories. Well, people can't see what you're selling. They can't hear your voice. You're not telling us what you're selling. I don't want to show my artwork on Instagram. Well, it's a free platform with millions of people to leverage. You can do it or not do it. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
a shop open. Well, no one knows what's for sale. I mean, like there's this like irony, that's always going to be there. And yeah, it might not it's going to come in all different orders, and I agree. I was also at one point last summer like I thought I was done. I had had really bad experiences with certain clients, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck this. Like, maybe I shouldn't be a coach. Maybe I'm a little too abrasive. And like, I got an email from a client ripping me the fuck down. And that's when I called my sister crying, and I was like, yo, I might have to like figure something else out. I have plenty of other passions. I used to want to be in fashion. I used to want to, and then this one client who I had a VIP day with yesterday, like blessed me with her presence.
Mm.
And, it was like the resurgence. But I'm still, am I open to messaging to, receiving and messaging to the clients that are really ready? Because I'm talking to people who are not ready.
Right.
And that
Right.
was a huge awakening with this coach that I'm, really trying to wrap my mind around and, investing in. And it's really just like, I'm just curious. How many coaches have you worked with?
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
curious.
hold on. I had one
Oh
that I
shit.
ran away
Jesus
from.
Christ. Okay.
Then I had that's two, and then Amanda, and then Brian Mark,
Wow.
Rachel Bell, and Jason. Oh, then Jennifer. I did a bunch of little workshops here and there, but
Okay.
I've invested over 30K in coaches in the past couple of years.
Okay, that doesn't make me
Um,
feel so bad right now
uh-uh.
because I mean, I'm
They weren't
thinking of
aligned.
investing 7K
Huh?
and and putting it on a credit card and just really giving it to myself that I will pay. I don't know, I'll pay it off in 7 months maybe. Like will and it's not like I won't do the work, right? We're all, like all of these artists are doing the work. But is it holistic? Is it, are you in a space where you have the grit to take X, Y, Z, A, B, C and just like try to maj podge it together, excuse me, together as best as you can? Because I do think that everyone's doing their best. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not fucking sure about that. But, you know, Bonnie's like, Terry,
They're doing the best they can with what they have. And like if all they had like and
yeah,
that means that you can increase what you have too. Like that's
right.
not a pass to not to fuck
That's
around,
okay. So that's yes. That is it. You can increase what you fucking have. And I want to
right?
stop there because
Mhm.
we've been dropping gems all over the place for free. Um, and I just like this, you and I could be here just doing TED Talks.
Yep.
And maybe we'll do take two. You know what I mean? I think Terry and Bonnie could probably have our own spinoff.
Yeah, no.
Seriously. We're definitely about the shits. But I want to thank you so much for spending your time here with me and being committed to just having these conversations with anyone and everyone. I mean, I knew that, you know, we hopped on voice notes rather early. We started our relationship.
Mhm.
And I think like it's just sky's the limit from here. But I want to make sure you plug any and all of your services. And so tell us a little bit about what you're offering right now.
Okay, so I am always offering to work with women one on one for 6 months as a spiritual mindset coach. But because I'm a fitness coach, you also get to work out no matter what. No matter what program I have, they're one or the other. So, on the social media account that you have me on Siobhan Bonds, that's where I do most of my spiritual life coaching and mindset coaching. Over here at Mind and Body Fitness, I do virtual fitness coaching. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, except my hippie ass is going to be having you meditating and we're going to be having you going
Yes.
within. So it
Yeah.
really just, it's on what do you want to focus on, right?
Yes.
Um, I also have a podcast. It's called The Boss Life with Bonds. If you're an entrepreneur, creative, someone going through personal development journey, that's going to be right up your alley. There will be a bunch of tough love. There'll be some spirituality. There'll be some mommy, some heartfelt motherly love in
Yeah.
there too. And it's the swift kick in the ass that we all need. Um, and wow, for the first time in my life, that's all I have going on. That feels good. Like how
Yes.
we said, getting rid of all the extra stuff. Like I have
Yep.
slimmed down to these two things. Three.
Yep. I'll make sure to link all of those and everyone else. Thank you so much for tuning in to Between the Two of Us. This is a new series that I'm trying out, and it's definitely been building and unfolding in a really awesome way. If you have a moment, please make sure to subscribe, to like, to share this shit with everybody you know. And Bonnie, I'll talk to you later.
Yes, ma'am. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.